Hey Bob, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Mario Ferraro. Obviously, when he came to camp last year, there was not much expectation there that he'd make the team. But how do you see him coming into camp this year, and what kind of steps can he make in his second year?
I think I can tell you already, and after day three, I think he looks a heck of a lot more confident now than he did last year at this time, and that comes with some experience. And I think he's had a good summer. He came in amazing shape, and I would say on today's game we had, he was the best defenseman on the ice. So there's major strides in his his maturity, and I think his confidence. And I wouldn't be surprised, opening night puck drop, that he's not sitting in our top four if he keeps progressing in camp like he is.
Who was he playing with today?
Well, we had an odd number of defense on that team, so he was, he started with Passionate, but they had 70, so they all saw time together.
He's obviously a vocal guy. He's an affable guy, and we've talked about the leadership in the room now with Jumbo leaving. Is he a guy that you could see, maybe not quite in his second year, and being he's only 21 or 22 or whatever, but a guy that does develop into a team leader as he progresses?
Absolutely, I think that he's got leadership qualities. I think he's he's a guy that people gravitate to, and I think he's one of those guys. He brings life to every situation, and he's very likable. The guys love having him around, and I just think he's a guy that, I think one day you're going to see him wearing the letter here in San Jose.
What did his goal look like? He scored a goal today, right?
Yeah, it was a point shot. It was sort of a sifter through traffic. So, but I mean, he was very poised with the puck all day, and he was jumping up into the play, and had a ton of energy, like we all know Mario does. He has great legs, and he got himself out of trouble with his feet a lot of times today.
Thanks, Bob.
Shang?
Hey Bob, how's it going?
Shang?
I wanted to ask you, yesterday you alluded a little bit to kind of the bottom six maybe having more speed on there, and may have touched a little bit too on maybe philosophy, a third line philosophy, a fourth line philosophy. And so I just wondered, do you have a general philosophy for those lines, or is it more specific to personnel?
Well, I expected the one thing I do expect from those lines, and there's some good highlights today from some guys out there, from that. I don't know if you want to classify them as the bottom six, but I believe that we're going to have a third line that can contribute on the score sheet this year, and a fourth line. I think we need to get offense out of just our third and fourth lines. They can't be just energy lines, or guys that are checkers and jumping over the boards and dumping chase guys. We're going to have a team this year that we're going to generate offense on those lines. So that's number one. I think they're going to be faster. We talked about that yesterday, being a more quicker line to play against. And, I just think, with the schedule being as compacted as it is, and and how we're going through training camp, not just our team, I think every team, you're going to have to roll four lines. There's not a lot of rest. There's a lot of situations where you're playing a ton of hockey, and you need everybody to contribute, but you also need to roll your bench.
And speaking of another defenseman, how did Ryan Merkley look today in game action? Did that extra weight or mass he added over the offseason help?
Yeah, I thought Ryan looked pretty good. I think that we did a 20-minute stop period, and then after the first period, we put one team on the power play for 6 minutes, the other team killing. Then we did the same thing after the second period, where we had a special teams game, and you could tell, obviously, when he gets on the power play, what his strengths are, and so he can run a power play. And I think if we're going to have Burns and Carlson on the first unit, we're going to need to find someone to complement that second unit at the top, and that's where Merck's tools take over, and and keeps him in the conversation, anyways, for the most part, for the next little while.
How about on the defensive side, though?
You know what? I thought he handled himself pretty well. I thought there was, some defensive zone coverage that we practiced yesterday that you could tell his brain was working, and he was paying attention to the details. So that was good. He closed on guys. I think that, you'd like to see all these young guys get a little tighter and close in quicker and not give the other forwards so much space. But, he held his own defensively.
And finally, a couple of young forwards that we haven't asked you about yet. How have John Leonard and Sasha Chmielewski looked in camp so far?
John Leonard had a really good day. He had a lot of chances. They didn't go in for him, but you could see, it's easier to see in a scrimmage than it is in practice. I think that when you're in traffic and you got to make tight plays, he's just, you could tell he's got that offense to his game. And he's got that hockey sense to his game. So I was really happy with him today. Who was the other guy you asked about, Shane? Sasha, yeah. Sasha was good. Again, he played a lot of penalty kill today, and he did a good job with that. Another guy that's really detailed in his game. And I think that he's one of those guys, if I compared his camp last year to this year, you can tell even though he had a season where he was hurt a lot last year, you could tell that more confident. And he's out there not afraid to make mistakes. He's actually creating.
Oh, and you have Sasha playing center, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was playing center today, and again, that we were rotating wingers through that line as well.
All right, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Curtis Pashalka.
Hi, Bob. Just go back to Mario for a minute. Obviously, you said you're really impressed with how he did today, but does that also maybe mean you're looking for a little bit more from the guys in your presumed top four right now?
I'm not necessarily saying that. I think that it's day 3, and for sure with coaches, staff, we sit there and we're saying, okay, who'd you like, who you didn't like, and you don't want to jump to conclusions in the 3rd day of camp. But I think that you're trying to get everybody an even opportunity, and you're trying to evaluate guys. And I thought Erik Karlsson had a great day. I thought he was jumping up into the offense when we had power play. I thought him and Bernsey looked real good on the power play. Those guys were real good too. So I'm not saying anybody's off. I'm just saying that you could tell Mario, he's sort of, he's one of those guys that catches your eye every shift doing something, and his energy and his intensity. I think those are the things you notice.
Oh, okay. Obviously, like you were saying before about your depth, and you mentioned yesterday that they could be a lot faster maybe as a unit than they were last season. Is that because you've added a Matt Nieto to the team, but also that the young guys are just playing faster maybe than they were last year?
I think that's twofold. Matt Nieto had a great day today. He scored a shorthanded goal. On our penalty kill, he scored a shootout goal. You could see the speed there to his game. So that's one of the guys that's definitely going to bring a lot more speed to that bottom 6, I guess you can call it. And we've put in a system here, both offensively and defensively. Like, we're going to be a lot more aggressive in all 3 zones, and I think that's going to, it's going to speed our game up the way we play. I think we're going to be a team where you're going to see shorter shifts this year. You're not going to see guys extending shifts. Again, if 4 teams are rolling their bench, 4 lines are rolling their bench, I think all those things allow you to play faster.
And it said we got a note sent out about some things that happened at the scrimmage today. One was, I guess, Curtis Gabriel and maybe Suomela got into a bit of a shoving match. Did you see how that kind of started? Or
there was some physicality out there, and and I don't slight Gabriel for trying to finish his hits and be physical, and he had a few collisions today, and we don't want to see anybody get hurt, obviously, in a camp like this, but certain guys have to stick out and show what they have, and he's one of them. And I've already talked to everybody at camp that I have a no fight rule, and we don't want teammates fighting each other. We know who's tough, and and we don't need to see that. So but I have no problem with guys running into each other, getting a little intense, a little pushing and shoving matches. That's good to see that intensity.
Thanks, Bob.
Michael Roberson.
Hey, Coach. Happy New Year. So it's a new calendar year, a new NHL year, and you don't have the interim tag on. So how psychologically are you coming into the season, being that you guys had to observe the bubble last year?
Yeah, that was tough to watch. And, for me personally, I think that, going through the second half of the season, I was so focused on trying to, make a few changes and going through what we went through last year, that it was tough to take a step back and sort of, realize the situation that I was in. And sometimes you take it for granted, but in the summertime, Doug and I had a lot of talks, and, we built this back and forth chemistry and loyalty, and talked a lot about the team. And him giving me the head coaching title, I think that's I'm here at camp now, and I feel I'm starting to feel that this is going be my team now, and I'm putting my touches on it. I got my staff I've hired, and and I've made some changes to what we're teaching and what we're presenting, and it's good. I think it's finally a spot that I feel comfortable and I could take ownership.
Dan Rosen.
Hey, Bob, how do you see this playing out in the regular season type hockey when you're playing a team 4 times in a row or 4 in 6? How does that change what the regular season mentality is?
I'll tell you from a pre-scouting standpoint, I mean, you're always worried about that, putting that game behind you and worrying about the next opponent, and it's not going to be like that. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of work to do on that one opponent, and I think it's going to be a lot of adjustments and a lot of changes to make in between periods after games. How you're going to approach the next game? Let's face it, you play the same team a few times in a row, or that 3 times in a week, or whatever it's going to be. It's tough to beat a team 3 times in a row. People adjust, and the tendencies of the other team you're playing, and so that's going to be a different ball game for all of us coaches, and I think as players as well. And I think what it's going to do with the 7 teams that we're going to play, it's going to develop a heck of a rivalry, and there's going to be a lot of intensity. I would have to imagine. I mean, it's how important every point is, how every game is, and I think that that's going to be something that I think you're going to see come out in those games.